Bridge to Terabithia, Chapter 2, Leslie Burke. Allie and Brenda weren't back by 7. Jess had finished all the picking and helped his mother can the beans. She never canned except when it was scalding hot. And all the boiling turned the kitchen into some kind of hellhole. Of course, her temper had been terrible, and she had screamed at Jess all afternoon, and was now too tired to fix any supper. Jess made peanut butter sandwiches for the little girls and himself, and the kitchen was still hot, almost nauseating from the bean smell. The 3 of them went outside to eat. The hole was still out by the Perkins place. He didn't see anybody moving outside. They must have finished unloading. "I hope they have a girl 6 or 7, said Maybelle. "I need someone to play with." "You got Joyce Ann." "I hate Joyce Ann. She's nothing but a baby." Joyce Ann's lip went out. They both watched it tremble. Her pudgy body shuddered, and she let out a great cry. "Who's teasing the baby?" his mother yelled out the screen door. Jess sighed and poked the last of a sandwich into Joyce Ann's open mouth. Her eyes went wide, and she clamped her jaws down on the unexpected gift. Now maybe he could get some peace. He closed the screen door gently as he entered and slipped past his mother, who was rocking herself in the kitchen chair watching TV. In the room he shared with the little ones, he dug under his mattress and pulled out his pad and pencils. Then, stomach down on the bed, he began to draw. Jess drew the way some people drink whiskey. The piece would start at the top of his muddled brain and seep down through his tired and tense-up body. Lord, he loved to draw. Animals mostly, but not regular animals like Miss Bessie or chickens, but crazy animals with problems. For some reason, he liked to put his beasts into impossible fixes. This one was a hippopotamus, but just leaving the edge of a cliff, turning over and over. You could tell by the curving lines in the air towards the sea below, where surprised fish were leaping goggle-eyed out of the water. There was a balloon over the hippopotamus, where the head should have been, but his bottom actually was. "Oh," it was saying, "I seem to have forgot my glasses." Jess began to smile. If he decided to show it to Maybelle, he would have to explain the joke, but once he did, she would laugh like a live audience on TV. He would like to show his drawings to his dad, but he didn't care. When he was in 1st grade, he had told his dad that he wanted to be an artist when he grew up. He thought his dad would be pleased. He wasn't. "What are they teaching you in that damn school?" he asked. "Bunch of old ladies turning my only son into some kind of a—" He had stopped on the word, but Jess had gotten the message. It was one you didn't forget after 4 years. The devil of it was that none of his regular teachers even liked his drawings. They'd catch him scribbling. They'd screech about wasted time, wasted paper, wasted ability. Miss Edmonds, the music teacher, she'd the only one he dared to show anything to. And she had only been in school for 1 year, and then only on Fridays. Miss Edmonds was one of his secrets. He was in love with her, not the silly kind of stuff Ellie and Brenda giggled about on the telephone. This was too real, too deep to talk about, even to think about very much. Her long, swishy black hair and her blue eyes. She could play the guitar like a regular recording star, and she had this soft, floaty voice that made Jess squish inside. Lord, she was gorgeous, and she liked him, too. One day last winter, he had given her one of his pictures, just shoved it into her hand after class, and ran. The next Friday, she had asked him to stay a minute after class. She said he was unusually talented, and she hoped that she wouldn't let anything discourage him, but would keep it up. That meant Jess believed that she thought he would be the best, not the kind of best that he encountered at school or at home, but a genuine kind of the best. He kept the knowledge of it buried deep inside him like a pirate treasure. He was rich, very rich, but no one could know about it for now except his fellow outlaw Julia Edmonds. Sounds like some kind of hippie, his mother had said when Brenda, who had been in 7th grade last year, described Miss Edmonds to her. She probably was. Jess wouldn't argue about that. But he saw her as a beautiful wild creature who had been caught for a moment in that dirty old cage of a schoolhouse, perhaps by mistake, but he hoped and prayed she would never get loose and fly away. He managed to endure the whole boring week of school for that 1/2 hour on Friday afternoons, when they'd sit on a worn-out rug in the floor of the teacher's room. There was no place else in the building for Miss Edmonds to spread out all of her stuff and sing songs like "My Beautiful Balloon," "This Land Is Your Land," "Free to Be You and Me," "Blowing in the Wind," and because Mr. Turner insisted, "God Bless America." Miss Edmonds would play her guitar and let the kids take turns on the auto harp, the triangles, cymbals, tambourine, and the bongo drum. Lord, could they ever make a racket. All the teachers hated Fridays, and a lot of kids pretended to. But Jess knew what fakes they were. Sniffing hippie, they'd say. Even though the Vietnam War was over and it was supposed to be okay again to like peace, the kids would make fun of Miss Edmonds' lack of lipstick or the cut on her jeans. She was, of course, the only female teacher anyone had ever seen in Lark Creek Elementary wearing pants. In Washington and fancy suburbs, even in Millsburg, that was okay, but Lark Creek was the backwash of fashion. It took them a long time to accept what everyone could see by their TV was okay anywhere else. So the students of Lark Creek Elementary sat at their desks all Friday, their hearts thumping with anticipation as they listened to the joyful pandemonium pouring out from the teacher's room, spent their allotted half hours with Miss Edmonds under the spell of her wild beauty, and in the snare of anthems, and then went out to pretend that they couldn't be sucked by some hippie in tight jeans with all makeup all over her eyes but none on her mouth. Jess just kept his mouth shut. It wouldn't help to try to defend Miss Edmonds against their unjust hypocritical attacks. Besides, she was beyond such stupid behavior. It couldn't touch her, but whenever possible, he stole a few minutes on Friday just to stand close to her and hear her voice soft and smooth as soothed, assuring him that he was a neat kid. "We're like," Jess would tell himself, "me and Miss Edmonds, beautiful Julia." The syllables rolled in his head like a ripple of guitar chords. "We don't belong at Lark Creek, Julia and me. You're the proverbial diamond in the rough," she had said to him once, touching his nose lightly with the tip of her electrifying finger. But it was she who was the diamond sparkling out of the muddy, grassless, dirty brick setting. "Jessie!" Jess shoved the pad and pencils under his mattress and lay flat down, his heart thumping against the quilt. His mother was at the door. "You milk yet?" He jumped off the bed. "Just going to." He dodged around her and out, grabbing the pail from beside the sink and the stool from beside the door, before she could ask what he had been up to. Lights were winking out from all the 3 floors of the old Perkins place. It was nearly dark. Miss Bessie's bag was tight, and she was fidgeting with discomfort. She should have been milked a couple hours ago. He eased himself onto the stool and began to tug. Warm milk pinged into the pail. Down the road, an assessment's truck passed by with its dimmers on. His dad would be home soon, and so would those cagey girls who managed somehow to have all the fun and leave him and their mother with all the work. He wondered what they had bought with all their money. Lord, what he wouldn't give for a new pad of real art paper and a set of those marking pens, color pouring out into the pages as fast as you could think, not like stubby school crayons you had to press down on until someone bitched about you breaking them. A car was turning in. It was the Timpsons. The girls had beat Dad home. Jess could hear their happy calls as the car door slammed. Mama would fix them up supper, and when he went in with the milk, he'd find them all laughing and chattering. Mama would even forget she was tired and mad. He was the only one who had to take that stuff. Sometimes he felt so lonely among all the females. Even the rooster had died, and they hadn't gotten another. With his father gone from sun up till past dark, who was there to know how he felt? Weekends weren't any better. His dad was so tired from the wear and tear of the week and trying to catch up around the place that when he wasn't actually working, he was sleeping in front of the TV. "Hey, Jess," Maybelle, "the dumb kid wouldn't even let you think privately. What do you want now?" He watched her shrink 2 sizes. "I got something to tell you," she hung her head. "You ought to be in bed," he said huffily, mad at himself for cutting her down. "Ellie and Brenda come home." Came home. Why wouldn't he quit picking on her? But her news was too delicious to let him stop her from sharing it. Allie bought herself a see-through blouse, and Mom was throwing a fit. Good, he thought. That ain't nothing to cheer about, he said. Barperty, barperty, barperty. Daddy! Maybelle screamed with delight and started running for the road. Jess watched his dad stop the truck and lean over to unlatch the door so Maybelle could climb in. He turned away. Darn lucky kid. She could run after him and grab him and kiss him. It made Jess ache inside to watch his dad grab the little ones to his shoulder or lean down and hug them. It seemed to him that he had been too big for that since the day he was born. When the pail was full, he gave Miss Bessie a pat to move her away, putting the stool under his left arm. He carried the heavy pail carefully so none of the milk slopped out. "Mighty late with the milking, aren't you, son?" It was the only thing his father said directly to him all evening. The next morning, he almost didn't get up at the sound of the pickup. He could feel, even before he came fully awake, how tired he still was, but Maybelle was grinning at him, plopped up on her elbow. "Ain't you gonna run?" she asked. "No," he said, shoving the sheet away. "I'm gonna fly." Because he was more tired than usual, he had to push himself harder. He pretended that Wayne Peters was there just ahead of him, and he had to keep up. His feet pounded on the uneven ground, and he thrashed his arms harder and harder. He'd catch him. "Watch out, Wayne Peters," he said between his teeth. "I'll get you. You can't beat me." "If you're so afraid of the cow," the voice said, "why don't you just climb the fence?" He paused in midair, like a stop-action TV, and turned, almost losing his balance, to face the questioner, who was sitting up on the fence nearest to the old Perks place, dangling her bare brown legs. The person had jaggedy brown hair cut close to its face and wore one of those blue underleg tops, like with faded jeans cut above the knees. He couldn't honestly tell whether it was a girl or a boy. "Hi," he or she said, jerking his or her head towards the Perks place. "We just moved in." Jess stood there staring. The person slid off the fence and came towards him. "I thought we might as well be friends," it said. There's no one else close by." Girl, he decided, definitely a girl, but he couldn't have said why he was suddenly sure. She was about his height. Not quite, though. He was pleased to realize that as she came nearer. "My name's Leslie Burke." She even had one of those dumb names that could go either way, but he was sure by now he was right. "What's the matter? Huh? Is something the matter?" "Yeah, no," he pointed his thumb in the direction of his own house, and then wiped his hair off his forehead. "Just errands. Too bad Maybelle's girl came in the wrong size." Well, he nodded at her. "See you." He turned towards the house. No use trying to run any more this morning. Might as well milk Bessie and get that out of the way. "Hey!" Leslie was standing in the middle of the cow field, her head tilted and her hands on her hips. "Where are you going?" I got work to do," he called back over his shoulder, and when he came out later with the pail and stool, she was gone.